Hello again, and welcome back to my channel. So we're on episode 4 now of the lathe DRO. We've got the both scales fitted and everything's looking pretty good. So I think the next thing to do is connect everything up together mechanically, fabricate some kind of a bracket to attach the reader head on the Z-axis to the carriage, and then work out how I'm going to integrate that with the X-axis reader head as well. But we'll do the Z-axis first. I've got a bit of metal here that I think I'm going to use. It's just a piece of aluminium that I took out of a circuit board. It was a heat sink, so I think this will be ideal. I think it's about 6 mil thick, so that'll be quite a good way, I think, of attaching the reader head from that glass scale on the Z-axis to the carriage. So I'll just have to cut a profile out of that. So I think I'm going to go and print that and just do it by hand, really, and we'll see how it goes. Right, so we've done the main bracket. Looks pretty good. also done this intermediate sort of connector piece. Quite happy with that too. It's drilled at the bottom and tapped to fit into these two slots here, like that. And then once again slotted to mount to there, to the bottom of the reader head. So I think we'll do that first. We should just be able to do this with some M4s. It does take 4, but I'm only going to mount it with 2 because we're just sort of testing it. So we'll screw that in there. Like that. Just do 1 at each side. We'll use the holes at the front because it's probably easier that way. I'm not going to tighten these all the way up, just nip them so that we can then sort of get everything in position with that. So I've tapped these M8, so I'm just going to use a pair of M8 flange bolts. Should make it nice and rigid. So these just need a 13mm spanner. All right. And then we just need to connect the 2 at the bottom. So for that, I've got a couple of M5 button head caps. Yeah, I can already see it's going to take a bit of wiggling to get everything to fit correctly, but it's totally doable. Once everything's got bolts in it, it should be just a case of maneuvering things so that things line up. I mean, that looks pretty good, that. If I nip that up there and then do up these 2. We still have our plastic spacing element in the reader head that you remove. Once you've got everything aligned correctly, you remove it. So it creates the necessary clearance, but that feels pretty rigid. Let's see how it moves. Oh, it feels great. Even with the spacer still in there, it looks pretty damn good actually. Yeah. Yep, liking that. It's got adjustment where it needs it. It looks nice and tidy. Let's see if the cover will still fit. There are 2 screws down here that were to adjust the backlash on the back of the saddle, and they were Allen caps, so I've replaced them with hex. So now I can actually get to them with a 13 spanner and make sure that we take up any free play there, because if I hadn't done, you'd never be able to get to them. Plus they are a lower profile, but even so, this cover will still have to be slid in from the side. But it seems to fit. It seems to fit quite well. Yeah, I think that's a pretty tidy job, to be honest. I have the reed head with the cable coming out that side. I think what I might do is drill some holes in here for some cable ties to go through, and then cable tie the cable in place, and hopefully that'll keep it keep it out of the way of everything. And then I can also do something similar with the cable for the top reader head, to go through a couple and get them going out the same direction, maybe even cable tie them together. But I think that's probably going to be the safest, is to do it that way, because it's easier to have the cable go in that direction and then out, I think, because that way you're not straining it when you move in any... Obviously you don't want the cable coming out this way, because then you need somewhere for it to just coil up over there. So I think this way it goes around, and you're probably going to have the easiest time of managing it, stopping it from getting trapped on stuff. But yeah, that's looking, I think, very tidy. So now to move on to the connection for the other reed head, which is going to be over here. Now, let's get that. Now this reader head needs to live here, but this part of this bracket is actually kind of in the way, because it wants to be as close as possible to there, I think. Yeah, it's about there, I think. Bearing in mind also we've got the wiper that fits over here. So we'll have to see about that. And also you've got a screw hole there that needs to be accessible. So I think maybe if I fit it here and then put some kind of a bracket behind it that has got adjustment, can slot, or even just oversized holes so it can move around over there to get the alignment correct. I think that might be the way to go. But I'm going to have to take some metal out of this bit to make space for it to live. I think it's about there actually. Not quite sure. But I think I'm going to have to cut a bit out of that bracket there to make a space for it. I'll work out how much I need to cut off. Probably not that much. I'd say go about 10 mil down, cut away a bit there, and then work on a design for a sort of angled bracket to hold it in place. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. That's the next bit, I think. But otherwise, I'm quite happy with the way this is all coming together. I think that looks very tidy. Not a lot of serious swarf traps. It's definitely rigid. There's no movement at all on this. And yet, it feels nice and smooth. I'm very happy with this arrangement. And it's only 2 bits of metal to create that whole arrangement. I've seen people screw bits of extruded aluminium, 20 by 20 onto the back here and then mount to it. But I just thought it'd be much nicer with something a bit lower profile that's not quite so obtrusive. You won't even see it from the other side of the machine. And everything is out of the way and well protected, I think. So very pleased with that. I think it looks quite tidy. Right, so let's move on. Okay, so I went ahead a little bit and finished off this little bracket. So we have a mounting point now for our X-axis reed head. Bolted it onto this bit, nothing fancy, just held it in place with the top of the slideway in position. I put a tiny little chamfer on that corner there. I know, sacrilege, but just so that it would make a bit of clearance for the wiper. And I've cut this wiper down a tiny bit. But basically, concept is, oops. So that screws on there. My intention was to have some adjustment over here. So to slot these holes a bit so that I could move this side to side. And then there is some adjustment on here already to move the entire reed head up and down. But to be honest, it's come out pretty well positioned, and I think it's going to be easier to drill these holes slightly oversized and shift this whole plate around in order to move that. It gives you something more to grip on, and it looks like an easier way of doing it. And then obviously these holes down here are slotted as well, so when you're mounting the Z-axis reed head, it doesn't matter if this is moved a bit. It's all going to be within that range of adjustment. So I think I'm quite happy with that. It's nice and rigid. It's not moving at all. All I think I still need to do is work out cable management. I think if these cables come down there, and then the other one from the other reed head, if it's in that position, can also come along there. So I can put a couple of holes in there to get some cable ties in, and then that'll keep all the cables out of the way, and they can both run down this way together. I think that's going to be the best option. So I think all I want to do still then is take this plate off, put a couple of holes in so I can mount some cable ties, and then I think I'm going to assemble this whole thing, get everything aligned, make sure everything fits correctly, plug in the actual DRO screen and see if everything's behaving the way you would expect. If that's the case, I think I'm going to leave the cover. I'm going to put the cover plate on here, but I'm not going to put. I was planning to seal it at the top. I'm not going to seal it just for now, just so I can sort of troubleshoot everything. Because once it's sealed on there, I think it's going to be a bugger to get off again. So I think quick bit of disassembly, drill some holes in here, and then reassemble the whole thing. I think we've gone through the assembly a couple of times now, so I won't video that. I'll just come back when it's all back together again, and the cables are tied in place, and we'll be ready to plug it all in and just see if it works. See you in a minute. Okay, so this is all now being assembled. We've got some holes I've drilled in here with stuck some cable ties through just for cable management. I think that's probably going to be okay there. I've got some. I can put some more cable ties in there because there are more holes. Everything's now lined up. The reed head for the X-axis is mounted and spaced correctly, and it looks like it's going to be bang on really, because we're at the end of the travel there, and the wiper's just about sitting on the edge. If I wind it all the way the other way, yeah, keep going. It actually stops. When it gets to the end, the nut actually stops up against the little bracket. So we actually have a hard stop on our travel over here. So you can't run over the edge of the travel and jam the reed head into the out of the slot, because it's riding in a slot and you don't want it to get to the end of the slot and then jam up against it. So we actually have a natural stop there where the nut stops up against the bracket. So that's working quite well. Very happy with that. Everything feels really nice. Z-axis feels good. I've removed the spacer from the reed head, so it's in its final position now. And the cable isn't touching, it's not touching the cover. The cover's been screwed into place, but I haven't sealed it. I just want to check everything's working properly. I think these are pretty tight. I better double check those actually. I don't know if I tightened these all the way. Yeah, I did. Yeah, those are nice and tight. So all that's left really, I've connected everything up and plugged everything. I just haven't actually turned it on. So let's turn it on and see what happens. Right, moment of truth. Well, I suppose that's what you want to see, isn't it? Yep. Well, that's pretty good. Happy with that. Seems to be working perfectly. Tells me exactly how much play I've got in the screw there that I need to fix. But yeah, it seems to be working really well. In case you can't see that, in case the light's a bit too bright, I'll tell you what, I'll turn this light off. And now it should be a bit more visible. There we go. Yep, it's working. Yep, very pleased. Right, so happy with that. I think we'll finish that episode here. I think all that's left to do then is one more episode where I'm going to take the put the lathe back together, get it back in its location, get the motor and the headstock, tail stock and everything back on, and then work out how we're going to mount this. Where I'm going to, I haven't decided if it's going on the wall or somewhere on the lathe. I don't know yet. I'll get all the bracketry out, and then we'll have to set this up because I haven't checked to see if the directions are correct for travel and that. Obviously the z-axis is 1 times, but the x-axis needs to be in diameter, so that needs to be set. And I'm not really sure how you use this thing yet, so I'll have to read the instruction manual, I think. But yeah, I think on the whole, pretty damn successful. So I'm very pleased with the neatness of the system. I think I still want to make a cover for this bit here, just because I feel like it's a little bit exposed here. So maybe I'll just 3D print something that goes onto that. But other than that, if you stand this side, there's almost no indication there's a DRO on. You can see the top of that, little bit of this bracket. The rest of it, you can't see anything at all. So it's looking pretty good, I think. And we'll see soon enough. Anyway, I'm going to go now. But yeah, I'll hopefully see you in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching.